Release the Kraken!
Greetings, fellow game designers. Ron here at Lame Duck Studios. And in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and look at how to make a heart. Now, this is actually a re-upload of an older tutorial done in Maya 2016. And I'm going to go ahead and do this in 2018 just because there have been a few changes that have made the older video kind of obsolete. So, only part 1 is going to be different. The rest of it's going to be in Unreal. The later updates in Unreal haven't changed that much, so most of it's going to be relevant. That being said, we're going to be creating this wonderful heart piece. We'll be able to gain some health, kick them around a little bit, go hover and do some bouncing. We're going to have a lot of fun with it, so without further ado, let's jump into Maya 2018. Okay, so here we are in 2018, and let's go ahead and create a plane. So go ahead and drop that in. Now I'm going to go ahead and size up my plane. However big you want it to be is fine. I'm going to go to polyplane here. Make sure we're in the channel box. If you don't see the channel box, it's these 3 little lines right here. It looks like pages stacked on top of each other. It's to the right of the hammer. Click that, you'll get that. Sometimes it's a little bit on the larger side, but just make sure it says channels, and you can see channel box here. You should see your transforms here, and that sort of thing. I just kind of scrub that down. Under inputs, go to polyplane 1 and just adjust your height and width to something desirable. I'm going to do 50. I think that's good enough, but however big you want this to be. And then subdivisions, I'm going to set these to 1 and 1. Pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and select my plane, press F to frame up on it. And what I want to do is convert this to a live object. So in Maya 2016, you could use Quadra and not need a live object. In 2018 and above, you do need to have a live object. So let's go ahead and just select our object here. Come up to the top bar. We're looking for these wonderful horseshoes. They may be collapsed in one of these little bars here. You get these little sidebars. You can open them and close them. Okay. I'm going to grab the horseshoe at the end. This one is the make selection live. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. We'll no longer be able to select it, but it is our live object. Now I'm going to go ahead and use Quadra. So I'll go over to your toolbar here. Look for the hammer and the box at the very end. This is your toolkit. Go ahead and open that up. Now sometimes this pops up over here. It's fine. You can go ahead and dock it, or you can leave it wherever. I'm just going to get Quadra, which is down here. Quadra. I don't need my toolkit. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Let's go into a top view. If you can't find your top view, or you don't know where that's at, you can go to the 4 view over here, click it, and then hover over the top, and then hit spacebar. So the way Quadra works is if you click 4 little dots, and then hold down the Shift key, you can fill it in by clicking. Hey, look at that. That's our first quad. Yay. Let's go ahead and line this quad up right about here. I'm going to position this so that I can start forming my heart. So this is going to be my first one. Get that. And like so. I'm just going to make a couple more boxes to make the outer edge of the heart, and then I'll make the inner. So 1, 2. 2 more. Hold Shift, fill it in. 2 more. Hold Shift, fill it in. And I'll do this one at the end. 2 more, hold Shift, fill it in. So here's the heart. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now to fill this in on the inside, I'm just going to hold Shift between these 2. And you see it's going to try to grab the closest quad I can find. You can grab this one or this one out here. Whichever, we need both. So I'm going to go here first, click. And then I come out to here, click. And now I have that. And the last part I want to do is I just want to split this. You don't have to do this, but I think it makes it a much more nicer looking gem if you split it right along here. So if you hold down the Control key, it'll give you the option to split, and just go ahead and split. Okay. If you hold down Shift and then click, you can kind of even some of this out, which is what I'm doing here. Not too bad. So that gives us our rough heart shape here. And you can finesse this however you like to make it look more or less heart-shaped. Okay. And then from here, I'm pretty much done in Quadra. Pro tip, you can of course come up to the top bar where it says symmetry, hit the drop down and turn symmetry X, object X on. And now if you were to do your Quadra, you can do both at once. Hey, look at that. So that's another way you could do it. Now, I did not do it this way, of course. I'm going to use the mirror tool so you can see how that works as well. So whichever method gets you there is all to you. I'm going to go ahead and hit Q to get rid of my Quadra tool. I'll go into object mode, so right click object, or you can press F9. I'm going to go ahead and unmake live. I'll hit the live button again to turn that off. I no longer need my live surface. I'll hit the delete key. And now I have my heart. I have this extra one here that I made just a second ago. I don't need him. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that off. Don't want to confuse anyone. Okay, so with this one, I just want to make sure that the center line is even. To do that, let's go to vertex mode. Select my object. I'm going to grab the vertices that are on this middle line here. And then I'm going to go and hit W to bring up my move tool. Let's open up our tools. This little hammer right here. And I'm going to come down to move and snap. I'm going to uncheck retain component spacing. I'm going to hold down the X key. You can see that our square turns into a circle. Grab that red arrow and just drag. It's going to get all messed up for a second, but just drag it to the middle line. And it's going to be happy. Look at that. Amazing. Okay. Let's go into object mode here. I'm going to come up and turn symmetry off just because I left it on. So turn that off. And now I'm going to mirror my heart. Let's come up to mesh. If you don't see your mesh tools up here, just come over to the left, make sure you're in the correct work mode. Hit the drop down, go into modeling. And now you'll see you have mesh tools and such. Go into mesh, come down to mirror, and go to the little options box. Yay, got that. So we want this to be in the x-axis. Let's uncheck the cut option. We don't want to mess up our object here. I'm going to be an object X. And then down in here, I do want to combine with the original. But if I try to merge this, it's going to give me some weird result. So for the threshold down here, it's set to automatic. I'm going to do a custom 0.1 and do apply. Now that should merge our center line. Okay. If it doesn't, there's a way to fix it. So go ahead, right click, go to vertex mode. Grab one of these middle vertices and then just move it. Make sure it's combined. If it isn't and you get a split, we'll do the next step. So let's pretend for some reason it didn't combine. So let's say I didn't do this part. And I hit apply. So if I end up in this situation where I have two halves, you're going to want to combine them. So go to object mode, select them both, hit combine. That's this little circle with the two planes in it. Now it's combined, but the vertices are still split. So if I grab vertex and I move it, you can see they're split. So what you do, grab all the ones in the center, and then come up to, I can close this box, I don't need this anymore. Come up to where it's this little guy. It's a little box with a vertex in the middle. If you click that, this is our merge vertices tool. Click it. It's going to give you a threshold option. You can adjust this if you need to, but the default 0.01 should be enough because they're right on top of each other. If you grab one now and go to move it, they should be combined. Okay, so either one of those get you to the same spot. Go back to object mode. And now it's just a matter of making my heart look pretty. So I'm going to go into my perspective here, go into face mode, so right click, face mode. I'm going to grab all of the faces in the middle here, so just for the gemstone. Okay. Hit the extrude button, and then use this blue arrow to pull that up. Okay. I'm going to take this blue square, click it. I'm going to let go, come down to the light blue square down here, click and drag to the left to taper that in. That gives me my gem shape. I'm then going to do the same thing to the border. So I'm going to grab the border, double click it. I'm going to extrude the border, pull that up. Now this time, I'm going to go ahead and just grab the blue box, middle one, scale it. And that's not too bad. Good enough. I think for the purposes of this particular demo, that's not too bad. Go ahead and right click, go to object mode. Now you of course are welcome to round this off as you like. My gem is very flat, so I'm going to go ahead and go to vertex mode here. Let me turn symmetry on, symmetry X. That way I can grab these. I can just shape it down. That's not too bad. Good enough. Go to object mode. So now it's a matter of doing the other half. But before we do that, if I select this and come underneath, you'll see that this bottom edge of the heart, this one, is the same distance as this one. So when we go ahead and merge these together, merge the other half, we don't want these two, we don't want this part combining with the other. So I'm going to grab this edge and pull it up some. So go to edge mode. I'm just going to go down to this bottom edge and double click. Now I happen to have symmetry on, so just grab both, which is fine. W. Just move this up a little bit. Not too much. Just enough so that this edge and these edges are not the same. If I go into a side view, it'll be easier to see. So hit 4, and you can see the border of the heart, and then the border, this highlighted border, is the gemstone. Okay. Go back to object mode. I'm going to turn my symmetry mode off. Let's go back to our mesh. Come down to mirror, options. This time, I do want these, of course, to combine with the original, so I'll turn that on. The direction is going to be the Y direction, because that's my up and down. And I'll hit apply. So now I should have a top and a bottom. And you should have your border edges, or your border vertices, go vertex mode, also combined. So if I grab that and move it, it shouldn't split. Okay. If it does split, you can go back and combine them like we did, or you can undo and redo. I'll go ahead and close that. So of course, we should always save our work. Okay, let's go and do our UVs. Open up the UV editor. Currently our UVs are garbage, we can't really use these. Let me go ahead and combine my tools, my toolkit. If you don't see your toolkit, they're under tools, and then you have show or hide toolkit. Click that and you'll open it up. Once it pops up, you can place this wherever you like. I just like to combine it with my UV window here. So I'll grab that and I'll just drag it to my window. Maya does not want to dock it for me today, so I think it's because my video is running, it doesn't want to dock, but it's fine. I'll just leave it here. What we're going to do, come up to the Create tab here, go down to Planar, Options, there's a little box at the end. I'm going to do a projection from the Y, which is the top. So the direction is based on how much is going to be in view. If I do a projection from the front, I'm only going to see this much. If I do a projection from the side, I'm only going to see this much. So doing a projection from the top gives me the most view of my heart, which is why I'm going for my top. So go to Y, project. Look at that. Now this isn't done. We have to do what's called cutting. I have to split this into its pieces so it's easier to paint. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and right click, go to edge mode. I'm going to double click this border edge right here. You can also do this edge, it's the same one. Go to our tools here. Go down to cut and sew. Choose cut. And you'll see now this border edge has been highlighted white because it is now separate. And if I go to UV mode, right click, UV, double click on this top half. If I hit W, I can now pull this off. And we have two halves. Hooray! Next, we're going to go ahead and do the gemstone. So I'm going to show you two different ways of getting here. First one is to go to edge mode and just grab the border edges of the gemstone. So if I grab this edge right in between the gem and the border, if I double click that, assuming you're working in quads, you should get a nice clean selection. And then you can go up and do cut. Grab that, cut, and if I go to UV mode, double click it, move it, I now have a gemstone and a border. But if that's not working for you, let's say you don't have quads, or maybe that you've messed your geometry up and you have overlapping edges, another way is to just project the gemstone by itself. Not too bad. Let's go to face mode. I'm going to grab all of the faces for the gemstone. Okay. Now I'm working on the top one. Let me go ahead and do the bottom one, which is this one. Then I grab all the faces of the gemstone, like so. Then I grab this one. If you're working in quads, you can hold double click. You can hold shift and then double click. That'll get you this selection. And then you can just grab the rest. You can also grab them here in your UV view, so you can always grab them here if you're not sure which ones you're supposed to grab. So either one of these directions or methods will work for you. Okay, so we should have just the gemstone, okay, on the bottom side. Shouldn't have anything else. If you have anything else, click off and try again, or use Control click to deselect. Now I'm going to reproject this from the top. So I'll go up and do Create, Planar, Options, get my Y, Project, and here it is from the top. Now this of course is too big, so I'm going to scale it down. So I'll go into Scale, go into UV, double click it, and then scale it down so that it about matches the same size as the other one. Okay, so that's two different methods of doing the UVs. Either one works. Now that we have the UVs cut, we need to unfold them. So I'm going to go over to my tools here. I'll select that gemstone. I'll go down to my unfold option here, choose unfold. There's that one. Double click this one, unfold it. I'll get my border, I'll unfold that. And get my other border and unfold that. So what unfold does is it flattens out your UVs so that it's easier to paint on them. Okay? Once I have them all unfolded, it's time to lay them out. Now you can have Maya lay it out for you. If you grab everything and then go down to Arrange and Layout, Maya will lay it out for you. So go down to, let me move this up here. You can't quite see it at the bottom of the screen there. Go to Layout, and Maya will lay them out for you. Now, I don't like the way it's arranged, so I'm going to move these around a little bit. But hey, this will work. Once you lay them out, you can move them however you like. Get my Move tool. And I'll just reposition these a little bit nicer. Good enough. And then for this one, I don't really want anything that's close to overlapping like that, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab this one, grab my rotation tool, I'll rotate and move it into position. Okay. So I'm pretty much good in here now. I'm going to go back to face mode here. And I'm going to start assigning my color. So I'm going to grab my faces, go into face mode, double click the gemstone, and I'll hold shift, double click the bottom gemstone as well, so I get both. Let's go up to rendering. Choose a color you like. It doesn't really matter. We're going to add all the shininess in Unreal. I'll just go ahead and pick a Lambert. I don't need my tools. I'll go ahead and close those. The first thing you should do whenever you assign a material is name it. So I'll go to my attributes. I'll click this little arrow to go all the way to the end. It'll take you a second because of all the construction history. I'll grab my Lambert 2. Let's go ahead and name it. It's going to be gem color. Pick a color. I'm going to go with red. Now it might not change here, and I've noticed sometimes in 2018 it doesn't change right away. It's a bit of a bug. Just go ahead and right click on it. Come down to assign existing material, and just choose a different material. I'm going to choose Lambert. I'm going to right click, go down to assign existing material, and choose my gem color, and then it'll swap. Okay. Now that I have that one, let's go ahead and do the border. Double click the border faces, hold shift, double click the other border, so I get top and bottom. And I'll do the same thing. So I'll go to rendering, get my color, I'll name it border color. And then for this, I kind of want it to be a little bit gold. I'm going to grab this yellow, pick a variation of gold. And it doesn't really matter. We're going to change this on Unreal. Again, right click, go down to assign existing. I'm going to swap a different color, and then I'm going to change it back to the border color. So now I have them both. Okay. I am good in my UVs. Turn that off. Go to object mode. And then before I send this to Unreal, I want to make sure that this is in the correct position. First, you can see my compass. I'm upside down. I'm going to go ahead and flip this. Turn back around. I'm going to grab the heart. Go to channel box. Let's go ahead and rotate this. So bring up my rotation tool. Rotate it 90 degrees in the X. And then I'm going to center it up on the center line. That way, if we export this to Unreal right now, it'll export off the center like it is. I want this to be the pivot point of my object. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down the X key. Drag that to the middle. Go to my top view, just make sure I'm good in center. I'll go to my front view. And I want my heart to be above the ground, so I'm going to go ahead and move this above the ground to where I'm happy. And that should be good enough. Okay. Unreal will always take the origin position as your pivot point. So right now my pivot's in the middle. When it goes to Unreal, the pivot's going to be where the origin is. Okay. And then lastly, I want to clear my history. So go up to Edit, Delete by Type, choose History, and that will clear off our construction history. And there we go. We have our gem. And that will conclude this tutorial. The next one, we're going to go ahead and export and get it into Unreal. Okay? And I shall see you in the next one. Hey guys, we have done it. We're at 1,000 subscribers and I have you to thank for it. Thank you, awesome. Misty and I both appreciate it. Maybe I should have called the studio Fuzzy Kitty Productions. That being said, of course, I want to remind you that we are taking a vote for what project I should work on next. Big kind of project for the channel, whether it's going to be a fighting game or puzzle adventure or whatever. Check it out in the link in the description to on the Patreon. Head over there; it's free. Just vote on it. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Gaurav Barari. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. Gaurav decided to make a wonderful logo as a way of saying thank you for all the work that I do, which is very, very appreciated. Here it is. I think it's beautiful. I love how the beak is the L and the D is the head, and lame duck just kind of pops out, and studio takes a back seat. It makes the cartoony logo a little bit more mature, which is kind of cool. So again, Gaurav, thank you very much. That was very awesome, and stay tuned, keep watching, and I shall see you in the next one.